Lamar Jackson trying to get his contract from the Baltimore Ravens. Jay Glazer last night during the pregame portion of the Ravens-Cardinals preseason game said that the Ravens have offered Lamar Jackson more than Kyler Murray. The issue, obviously, is the Deshaun Watson contract. He got $46 million fully guaranteed for 5 years, $230 million fully guaranteed for Watson. Murray's got $46.1 on a 5-year extension, 2 years tacked onto it. It becomes a different deal altogether. So you could easily get Lamar Jackson to $46.2 and say you're paying him more than Kyler Murray. But if it's not all guaranteed at signing and you absorb the 2022 season at $23 million, I did the math last night. It works out to something like $42 million a year on a 6-year deal. If you give him 5 years, $46.2 million on top of the one that he still has left. And so far, he hasn't taken it. And look, as Glazer said, it's an uphill battle. And it is. It is. Because Lamar Jackson is representing himself. He's trying to get ready for the season. Teams got the warning last week from the league. If a guy represents himself, the only person you should talk to is the player, no one else, no family members, no agents. If he's representing himself, it's just him. That makes it even harder to get a deal done. I still think they're not going to get a deal done, but there's 20 days left, and maybe at some point Lamar Jackson recognizes I got to take the best offer they give me because I don't want to continue to carry this injury risk.
That's where I look at it. I mean, I just wouldn't have, plain and simple, have the marbles to turn it down. I mean, it's something, I heard weeks ago that he's been offered more guaranteed money in the history of the sport other than Deshaun Watson. And of course that, contract is weird to say the least. Okay. But that's where I just go, wow, are you going to really leave? I don't know what the exact number is, 180, 190, 200 million guaranteed on the table with the style of football that you do play, Lamar Jackson. I would certainly be in your corner going, no, please don't. Let's just take this, all right, and move on with life. And like you said, put the injury risk back onto the Baltimore Ravens, especially with the way you play. And you've already taken some hits in your career. So that's where I worry about him. I really root for him that, as far as staying healthy and being the Lamar Jackson. Remember, come on, who's more fun to watch, on a Sunday or a Monday night than Lamar Jackson running around doing crazy stuff? He's awesome. So the thing that's encouraging, and I'm with you, I don't think it gets done, but, just watching the game last night, it sounds like it's not affecting much as far as his practice habits, his concentration, as far as the football aspect. I mean, everybody spoke so highly of him, the fact he's so focused and locked in. So that's a good thing. But, man, I just wish he'd take the money or at least get an agent. I know that.
Well, and he's locked in because this is contract year, so he knows.
Yeah, he's ready.
If they're not going to give him what he wants, there's only one way to get what he wants, and that's go out there and have his best season ever. The problem is he could get injured along the way. There could be things that he doesn't control. All it takes is one fluke hit, and there goes that contract. The Ravens won't want to give it to you. No one will want to give it to you if you're not healthy enough to play, if there are questions about when you'll be 100% or anything close to it. And even then, who knows? You may have to do a 1-year deal and prove yourself. You get yourself into the Jameis Winston vortex where it's short-term contract until you finally get a chance to prove yourself again. That could be where Lamar Jackson is if he ends up suffering a serious injury. And I feel bad even saying it. I hate to be, you jinxed him. But we know what the sport entails. And we know that of all the guys out there, Lamar Jackson is the quarterback who is at the highest risk because of the way that he plays. And I've had conversations. I've been doing this 20-plus years now. You talk to different agents from time to time about deals, and you try to kind of gently say, well, why do you maybe some are saying that many are saying you could have gotten more than you did. And there's a point where you have to just put the sword down, and you have to say, look, what they're offering, when you look at this offer, do I want more? Yeah. Can I get more? But would I tell my son not to take this? And that's the litmus test I've heard time and again. Yeah, you know what? I'd like to get more. But if this was offered to my son and I understood the risks of not taking it, I wouldn't be able to tell him to not take it. I'd have to tell him to take it. Even though I think I can get him more, I'd have to tell him to take this.
This is generational, life-changing money. This is the type of money where your great grandkids are going to be, they're going to be good because of what you do. As long as he doesn't buy too many more gold chains, I mean, which was hilarious last night.
Mark Andrews, hold their value. If they hold their value, it's better than buying a car.
You're right. It is. I'm just having fun. But Mark Andrews with one that he bought. I mean, but yes, I mean, that's where it just, my stomach gets in a knot thinking about it. It does. So I hope someone can come to the realization, his mother, himself, whatever here, that, okay, maybe it's not the deal I wanted. Maybe I didn't get every last dollar I wanted, but still, you lost out on $25 million guaranteed. What can't you not get with the $190 million that you're going to get? Plus, again, the rest of the contract, hopefully going to get all of that money at some point. Franchise quarterbacks, what we're seeing for the most part, this type of player, they're seeing the full capacity of the contracts. I mean, really, I can't think of too many that are not, right? The league is set up to protect them, but he plays a dangerous style, and it is a little different.
Anybody doesn't, it's him. That's the problem.
That is the problem.
And that's, you don't need to guarantee franchise quarterback contracts because you're not going to, if you're the team that recognizes he's a franchise quarterback, you don't just suddenly become not a franchise quarterback. Once you have reached that level, you're earning the money, and it doesn't need to be guaranteed. You're going to keep getting it. But for Lamar Jackson, there's that risk of an injury that would dramatically affect his availability or his performance, and the Ravens possibly would want to move on.
Do you think, right? Yeah, I know they could. You're right. And I wonder sometimes, does Dak Prescott embolden him? Like, Dak Prescott's foot was pointing, south towards Mexico, and it's okay, here's still, $45 million or $40 million a year. So that was a gruesome part to where he still got paid. And I don't know. Again, I think Lamar Jackson does not get quite the credit he deserves for the thrower and his ability to make plays in the pocket. But, yes, it would certainly hurt his ability to escape and make crazy plays that way.
Here's the reality, though, and this is where a seasoned, effective, and competent agent would be able to explain the differences to Lamar Jackson. Dak Prescott was a fourth-round pick. Dak Prescott had finished his rookie contract. He had done 1 year under the franchise tag, and he had the Cowboys over a barrel in year 2 of the franchise tag because there's no way they were going to do it a third time.
Yeah, that's right.
So year 2 was it. You're getting a deal done, or this guy's becoming an unrestricted free agent next year, and if you want to keep him, you're going to have to compete with everyone else who may want him, and the Cowboys didn't want to do it, so they did a 4-year, $160 million deal, and the way it's negotiated, I think after this season, they better start thinking about redoing it. Deshaun Watson, a once-in-a-generation set of facts, maybe even more rare than that, where he's on a team that's already paid him, he wants out, they want to move him, you throw this off-field stuff on top of it, and then he's kind of, sort of, not really exonerated, but it creates a land rush of 4 teams to try to get him, and the first team he tells, get the hell out of here, gets desperate, and puts together a package that he can't refuse.
Yeah.
Well, Lamar Jackson's never going to be in that situation. Those facts are never going to, especially all of the facts. I mean, it's never going to happen again. But the idea that Lamar Jackson's going to be in a spot where he's got 4 teams at the table, he tells one, get the hell out of here, and it reacts by saying, let's give this guy the best contract.
But is that
with
fair?
More guaranteed money.
Is that
well,
fair?
No, but
because
it is.
I know.
It's not fair, but it is.
I know, because I understand where you can be like, well, hey, that's the market now. You talk to one of your oligarchs over there. He screwed it up.
That's right.
I know. That's where
right.
I'm a little.
That's the response.
That is the response.
If you have an agent,
right.
It's easier to articulate that.
Yeah.
It's easier to say, hey, you know. We know how this works.
Yeah, Watson ain't going to the playoffs.
Bar keeps going up
every year like I am. He didn't win the MVP like I did. Yeah.
I don't care how it came to be.
Yeah.
It is.
Yes.
Doesn't matter.
I know.
If the Browns are stupid. It doesn't matter if they were, drinking beer for the 12 o'clock Matthew Berry show. It doesn't matter.
Right.
It doesn't matter how it got there.
Yeah, it's there.
And that applies more broadly than football. The
exactly.
market's always changing.
It does.
And doesn't matter how it got there, it's there.
Right. Like, hey, $20 million for somebody to announce a football game? $20 million.
That's crazy.
Now there's a guy making $37 million. He doesn't even announce a damn game yet. Right. So, I don't know. That's exactly. The reality is that's where it is. And
right.
And that makes things
and that's
very
why. And
complicated.
again, I'm not taking anything away from Lamar Jackson. Maybe he can make that argument on his own. I could have never made that argument at 25 years old, 26 years old,
me
especially
neither.
when my focus is football.
Yeah.
You need somebody who can say to Steve Bisciotti, Eric DeCosta, John Harbaugh, whoever, no, I don't. I know that you're trying to tell me how this Deshaun Watson thing is once in a generation. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It happened. That's the bar now. And if you want Lamar Jackson under contract, you got to give him the same thing, plus a little bit. That's just how it works. Sorry, take it up with your business partner, Jimmy Haslam, who decided to cross a boundary that everyone else had refused to cross.
Yeah.
So I agree with you. It shouldn't matter, but it's hard without an agent to make that point as fervently and convincingly as Lamar Jackson otherwise could. By the way, I think sometimes when you're on live TV, you can misspeak. You can say postseason instead of preseason like I did earlier. Kurt Menefee last night on the Fox pregame with Sean Payton and Jay Glazer from director's chairs on the sideline of the State Farm Stadium. Menefee said that Lamar Jackson's gained 25 pounds this offseason. It's like I about fell out of my chair. 25 pounds? He hasn't gained 25 pounds. It's more like 10 or 12. I don't know if he just misspoke. But it turned into I don't think he misspoke because then Sean Payton reacted to it saying, mix in a salad sometimes. You're getting a little bit too big. There's a point where you're too big as a quarterback. But there's a big difference between 25 and 10 or 12. And
yeah.
He went to the weight room. He put on some lean muscle mass. That's what he's trying to do.
Right.
It's not 25 pounds. I immediately texted someone who would know. It's like, did he put on 25 pounds? No, he didn't put on 25 pounds.
Well,
10 or 12 pounds.
Yeah, I mean, 25 is enormous. Now, I will say in his little interview on the sideline, who's the damn sideline reporter now there? I'm blanking on his name. Used to be with ESPN.
Tom Rinaldi.
Tom Rinaldi. Way to go. He did say to Lamar, "You've put on 18 pounds." So. I
missed that one.
That's significant, and Lamar didn't go, he didn't correct him. It is significant, certainly, but again, Lamar has been that wiry, skinny guy where I think he's naturally ripped and whatever else, and who knows what he weighed at the end of the year last year when he was hurt and maybe couldn't work out. So maybe it's from there as compared to maybe what it might have been at the start of the preseason last year. But hey, it's a guy that, needs a little armor on him like we talk about. And as long as it's not affecting his speed and all of that, then go for it. Certainly. He's a freak of nature. He's probably one of those guys that doesn't need to work out or lift too much weights to put weight on. But what I always do worry about a little is, hey, Lamar Jackson's body was intended to be, a certain size. Like, I sit here and I'm not trying to be a jerk, but think about Zach Wilson. Oh, he looks beefy. He looks great. Oh, we know what beefy got him? He stuck his foot in the ground with nobody touching him, and his knee gave out. And those are the things I worry about at times when I hear guys, oh, he's trying to get too big. Well, is the rest of his body ready to be that big when he's got to make these cuts and all of that? But I would bet you he gets more and more shape as we go along here. But he certainly looks thicker. Him and Trevor Lawrence are battling it out for the thickest quarterback necks I've ever seen in history.
The Takeo Spikes Award. They're
right.
both. I mean, they're both
right.
neck and neck, pun intended, in the running to have the Takeo Spikes gigantic neck. And you noticed it recently with Lawrence. And I noticed it in some of the pictures that I've seen recently of Lamar Jackson. I mean, he's hit the weights. He's put on weight. I worry about his ability to have the same burst.
Yeah, I hear you.
There's a certain point where, and I know that, I remember when David Boston just like showed up, and it's like, did this guy eat David Boston? Like, where's David Boston? But there was a thought that, well, if it's all muscle, you'll still have your speed and explosion. I'm fairly confident there's a point where it becomes counterproductive.
Yeah, I would agree with that too. Yeah, I mean, David Boston was again another guy that I had a little time with in Tampa. It was obsessive. He was obsessive about his body. I mean, no carbs, working out, everything. It was like a science experiment to a degree. But yeah, was it absolutely the best for him at wide receiver? I don't know about that. I don't know. And hopefully this is good for Lamar. I have a hard time thinking that he won't shed a few of these pounds as we get closer and he's running around more. And then, of course, as the season goes, you can't quite lift the same way and do all that to where I bet you week 3, he's 7-8 pounds bigger than normal instead of maybe the 15 pounds bigger than he is right now.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.